Welcome to the Unstuck Yourself Daily Dose with Brittany Bigley. The Unstuck Yourself Daily Dose is part of the Live Bigley community, giving you the resources and knowledge to help you live the life you were born to lead. Hey y'all, I'm Brittany Bigley, and I'm coming to you here with the Unstuck Yourself Daily Dose, and this is just my way of laying out the Unstuck Yourself framework in really real-time videos, and I'm using this framework to show you how I'm actually going through my life and unstucking myself. Nothing like being vulnerable to you all and showing you how to do it. But I feel like this is the best way to show you how this framework works. And one of the things that I thought about this week is that, like, you've heard of the phrase, resistance is futile. Well, I'd like to challenge that resistance is necessary. And again, this is coming directly from my own life experience right now. I feel like I am feeling resistance in all aspects of my life: work, home, family, personal life, romantic life. It is coming from all sides, and I feel like I'm not really getting a break. But instead of, I will say I'm human. There was a moment of like, woe is me, and like, whoa, why can't I get a break? But instead of being stuck there and thinking, woe is me, and being in this victim mentality, what I decided to think about is that resistance is necessary. It's a necessary part of the growth process. And so I was describing this to a family friend, and I was saying, I feel like I'm like a plant, right? I'm like a plant in a seed, and the seed at first is super protective and it's supposed to keep the plant inside safe. But at a certain point, the plant begins to grow and begins to feel the resistance of the seed, right? The casing of the seed, it's keeping it contained. And so what was keeping this seed contained and safe is now preventing it from growing. And so that is the resistance that is being felt of coming up against the seed container. And the plant needs that resistance in order to be able to push through and break through the seed container, because eventually it grows and outgrows the seed container, the seed pod, and grows and becomes, a vegetable or a fruit or a flower, and it reaches its full potential as what it's meant to be. But it cannot get there until the resistance stage is felt, and that the resistance is what helps to get, break free the plant of this safety. Okay, so resistance is necessary. The other metaphor, there are two other metaphors that I want to bring to the table with this thinking, that resistance is necessary. The second metaphor I was thinking about is water flow, right? If you don't have, if there aren't banks of a river that are containing the water flow just goes everywhere. There's no containment, right? In order to have water flow and flow in a direction, there needs to be containment. And so there is this resistance of this riverbed bank that is helping to contain the water. And actually, if what you were to do is have that same amount of water flow, and you continue to push and push and push and push the two walls of the riverbank together, or maybe like rocks coming together to make that flow, what you're doing is you are creating a even greater flow. And what happens is the momentum shifts. So here, if it's a nice wide open bank of the river, there's less momentum. But as soon as you start to narrow that focus and narrow the riverbank, narrow the containment of it, that's resistance. But what the resistance is doing is it's forcing the flow downstream in a direction, and it's causing the momentum to shift to be greater. And so what I thought was like, man, I'm really feeling like this constriction, but there's boulders that are in my way that were at first challenging me and maybe preventing me from going forward, moving forward in my path, keeping me stuck. But what's happening is this constriction is allowing me to channel my energy and the flow, and I'm actually going over the boulders or moving them out of my way. The cause of the momentum is causing me to just move it out of the way, and I'm breaking free. So that's the second metaphor. The third metaphor is a bow and arrow. And I previously, when there have been hard times in my life, I've found this really nice saying and like a nice graphic with like a bow and arrow. And it's like when you are feeling like you are being pulled back by the universe, you're actually being prepared to be thrust forward. And so it's like if you're thinking about a bow and arrow, in order to be able to be thrust forward, there has to be tension. And there's this pulling back phase. And the pulling back phase in life, and I feel like I'm so guilty of doing this, is that I resist and I resist and I resist. And I don't want to be pulled back, but I'm being pulled back, pulled back. And I feel like I'm going backwards. And this week, I've definitely felt like in some ways, a lot of ways, especially maybe emotional regulation wise, I'm going backwards, but I need to be pulled backwards in order to be thrust forwards. And that is what is creating the tension and the resistance to be able to have the momentum to point the arrow and shoot it forward. So resistance is necessary. It is a necessary part of the growth process. And I want to leave you with this really awesome quote that I found from The War of Art. One of my friends was like, well, if you're feeling like there's a lot of resistance, maybe it just means that you're getting really close to what you're destined to become. So she referenced this book, and I found this quote from the book, and it says, the more important a call to action is to our soul's evolution, the more resistance we will feel in pursuing it. So maybe because I'm feeling so much resistance from all different sides, I'm actually getting closer and closer and closer to my soul's evolution. And maybe there's some room that I can rejoice in that. I don't know if I'm quite there in the rejoicing. I'm still in the resistance, feeling the resistance part of the process. But I do feel like I am staring at a precipice waiting to be thrust forward. So wanted to share that. Again, if this resonates with you, please hit the like button. If you feel like this would really benefit someone that you know, please share it. Again, I'm doing this for me, really, first and foremost, but then what I have gotten through like some downloads from the universe is that, yes, you're doing this for you, you're self-expressing, but there are other people that might need this medicine. You need to share your story so that other people can get medicine from you. So, yeah, I will see you when I see you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to the Unstuck Yourself Daily Dose with Brittany Bigley. The Unstuck Yourself Daily Dose is part of the Live Bigley community, giving you the tools and resources so that you can live the life you were born to lead.